Welcome along to our big match preview for the final time of this season. Mate, I am exhausted by this year. Yeah. Clive and I are here to take a look ahead to Saints versus Manchester City on Sunday afternoon. All the games are being played, but before we get there, of course, we'll take a look back at that exhilarating roller coaster on Tuesday night. And also, we have to announce, we've got a brand new sponsor for the summer. Vanarama will be driving Fan TV this summer, so we've got lots of plans, so make sure you stay tuned. So, Saints at Swansea, my God. Let's rewind to the before kickoff, and even a day before kickoff. Let's start off with a hotel fiasco, Virus Gate, Marriott Gate. The Saints team hotel were told that they were refused admission to the hotel because of a virus outbreak. I mean, at that point, what were you thinking?
I just thought that if I was the boss, I'd use it to an advantage and to get everybody together and said, look, they want to make things as tough as possible for us. We're going to stand together and we're going to fight this and be positive about that situation. So what? They sleep in it. They're going to sleep in a nice hotel, aren't they? Whichever way they're going to do it, it's just maybe take a little bit longer to get to the ground. It's no big deal. All that's ever important is what they do when they step out onto the grass. But yeah, use it in our favour. And I think Mark Hughes did do that.
Yeah, and his team talk was basically written for them, and they had to go 40 miles down the road to the Vale of Glamorgan. Yeah. But we'll probably be visiting there. Maybe perhaps next season, but we'll get to that
for the Cardiff
as well. Yeah. But it wasn't only just that there was the whole fiasco on Tuesday night. Apparently, they were due a police escort from the hotel in Glamorgan. That didn't turn up, and then eventually they took the bus into Swansea, and they were forced to wait until the Swansea team bus had arrived.
As long as they get there in plenty of time, they walk in the ground. Again, I think it's a sense of togetherness, and I think that's the big thing that Mark Hughes has got into the team, got into the club, and I think into the fans as well.
He was fired up, though, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Mark
he was
Hughes?
Fired up. Of course he was.
You know,
things like that happen. And you, as a manager, you've been planning the day. It's all in your head to perfection. What you're going to do at a certain time. Everything's there, and they're trying to put as many steps in your path to disrupt that. And yes, that would fire you up. But he's fired up. The players are going to be fired up.
Yeah, and they were told to wait nearly 25 minutes for the Swansea team bus to arrive. But Mark Hughes told the driver, look, we're getting out, we're marching. And typically Saints marched into the Liberty.
Yeah, they did, and good for them. And so did the fans. You know, it was a very hostile atmosphere there at the start. Swansea fans, to be fair to them, were really, really loud. And they were kind of, you felt, even when the Saints fans got it together at the start, you felt like we were being drowned out a little bit. I don't know how it came across on the box, but that's what it felt like at the start.
Yeah, well, the fans, terrific, fine voice as always. And, you know, since Mark Hughes has come in, he's really... we've been saying it for weeks, the belief is back amongst the fans. You know, and Tuesday was a conclusion to all of what's sort of happened this season. But, you know, the game wasn't pretty, but we did it. We absolutely did it. You know, emotional roller coaster. You know, everybody wrecked emotionally, physically, mentally. I mean, how did you feel during that 90 minutes?
I think it concentrates you. It makes you intense. You look at every single throw-in. You look at every free kick. The whole game. You're looking at players on a pitch where they're moving, and you just really clocking everything with a fine-tooth comb, because you just knew we had to win that game. A draw was no good. A draw was no good. We just had to win that game. No other result. And I think Mark Hughes had a game plan. I think it was to draw the sting out of Swansea. He knew they'd come strong first half, and they did. Draw the sting and then get stronger, and I thought we did. Physically, I thought we were very, very good. Something that's been lacking in the best part of this season, but we actually got stronger as the game wore on.
Yeah, the intensity was there, and the tension, of course, through nerves of steel, let's say, for the fans, and no nails left. I was watching the game through my hands for most of the game.
Yeah, you just want something to fall for you, and you know, with so many things that have gone wrong recently, the thing at Everton, you know, when you think you've just got over the line and got 3 points, and then it's whipped from. It's shown a lot of character. Saints have shown a lot of character. I think that's really good.
And we finally had some luck.
Yeah.
Tuesday, you know, for the amount of refereeing decisions, you know, or their lack of, you know, offsides, handballs, fouls, red cards. We finally got a bit of luck.
Yeah. I don't know. Was there anything that dramatic that could have gone their way? Maybe the, maybe the handball when it was the hoop was, you know, on the ground. But that would have been tremendously harsh decision to give. There's no intention to play the ball, clearly, but sometimes when you're away from home, those things go against you. But, we dug in, and when Gabby came on, you thought, my goodness, this team looks unbalanced, but we're going for it. And my mate next to me said, Gabby's going to get this. Yeah. Gabby's going to get this. And sure enough.
What a shout that was.
5 minutes later, that ball, you know, when it fouled, he just reacted first. And even then, they nearly saved it. It just squirmed into that tiny little bit of where the post comes next to the net, you know, and
it was
what you cannot describe that in that end, the joy and the emotion and the release of tension, because we knew the minute that goal goes in, Swansea have got it all to do. Really,
it wasn't pretty at all. It was scrappy, scramble around the corner, you know, around the penalty box. I think Fabianski makes the initial save. It comes off him. You know, Gabbiadini's there, Johnny on the spot. Fabianski sort of saves it a little bit, and then it kind of falls through the legs of Alfie Mawson. It rolls in, and we go absolutely mad. You know, everybody, the limbs everywhere, and the Liberty, the showers of beer in the pub. You know, absolutely neither of that.
Yeah, a magical moment, magical moment, and just undescribable emotion, undescribable release of emotion to get that goal and to get that goal ahead. But immediately you're looking at the clock and you think, oh God, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, after what happened at Everton, you're just dreading it. But so good, Saints. That feeling, because it's come from nowhere. After the West Ham game, I've got to admit, I thought, you never give up, but hand on heart, reality said, we're pretty much gone here. And then the Chelsea game, we played so well and had it snatched away from us.
Yeah. It was a game that all the players, they didn't want to make a mistake because they knew.
No, from both teams. It's the same for both teams, Freddie. I think Swansea were really nervous. You could see, and I was saying to my mate all game, if we can just build 5-10 minutes of pressure on them, we'll score. We will score, because they did look so ropey at the back, and thank goodness that happened.
Yeah, and those final 15 minutes felt like 15 hours. The last 6 minutes felt like 60 minutes.
6 minutes of injury time, but Swansea just seemed to run out of legs. They just ran out of legs. They didn't really threaten at all right at the death.
Yeah, and it's it leaves us in a favourable position for the first time perhaps this season. We need a 10-goal swing. Swansea need to beat Stoke by 6 or 7. We need to lose to Manchester City on the final day. And, you know, Manchester City, by the looks of things, Pep isn't taking his foot off the pedal. They're searching for the 100 points. They've already got 100-plus goals, and they're coming to St Mary's on the final day.
Yeah, they'll go for it. Without a doubt, they'll go for it. But that, in a way, opens the game up for Saints, because if we're playing a counter-attack game, depending on what team he selects, that might just fall into Saints' hands. And you know not to let in X number of goals. Do you know what? You should just go out and play the game. And I think that should be the attitude of the fans, to make St Mary's a cauldron of noise. The players have finally done it for us, you know, after what's been an absolutely disastrous season. The players have got together. They've absolutely put a massive stint in the last 2 or 3 games, and they've done it, and they've created a situation where we should be safe. Yeah,
Mark Hughes has installed that spirit, and it'll be the almightiest of collapses on the final day. But look, we're more or less safe. More or less.
You never say never until
99%.
Yeah, because we are Southampton. But yeah, and strange things happen. You can get the best of the best and the worst of the worst. But given the spirit of the team, given the togetherness of everybody right now, I think we need to keep that intense atmosphere. We need to keep that for this game. It's not about, oh, thank God for that, let's go on the piss, let's have a party. We do that after the game. The players, the fans, we've all got a job to do on Sunday, and it's not over yet. So until it's over, I ain't going to rest and I ain't going to celebrate. But
Yeah, it will be a terrific atmosphere. You know, it's almost part of the atmosphere. I mean, there's perhaps have you seen the videos and the clips after the Swansea game? Do you think we've over celebrated on Tuesday night?
No, because you knew that we had to win, and it was about us and them. And I think the fact that Swansea couldn't come back when we scored says a lot about how much energy both teams had put into that game. They were both spent, to be honest. That's the only thing that worries me, whether we can get that energy up again for Sunday, because we have put enormous amounts of energy into Everton and Swansea game. They should be able to play. It's going to be 3 games in 8 days. There's no reason on earth why. But you do think, okay, you know, especially last 20 minutes of the game, that's where we got to hold firm.
Yeah, keep our heads.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
what do you think our approach should be on Sunday? Obviously, you know, as I say, Man City looking for those 100 points. I think obviously there'll be odds-on favourites to win. But we played a 5-4-1 on paper. It's looked negative, but it's worked. We're scoring goals as well.
It works, and I think you've got to go into with the mindset, let's not survive on goal difference. Let's survive because we got more points than Swansea. That's what I want to see, and I think we can get a point. Who knows? Game goes our way, then 3. I do think if Man City have got a weakness, it's at the back if you can actually get at them. I think, watching a lot of Man City this season, De Bruyne pulls all the strings all the time. You have to, if he gets within 30 yards of goal, Højbjerg would be my man to go and nullify him. Not necessarily a man marking because you lose a player that way, but I would want somebody to be, you know, to not let him dominate. They're going to dominate possession without doubt, but you have to get hold of De Bruyne. You have to not let him have a massive effect.
And it was Lamina that missed out on Tuesday night because of his injury. He picked it up against Everton, came off a half-time, Redmond making man of the match that time. They rotate, sort of, you know, you can have a man of the match display this week. I'll take it next week.
Why not?
You know, you have to give credit to Romeo and Højbjerg, absolutely brilliant in the middle on Tuesday night. You'd hope that those two, you know, scrapping for everything once again on Sunday.
Yeah, they've done particularly well, and it's great to have that kind of competition for places. And of course, poor old Ward-Prowse has hardly, James has hardly had much of an impact just recently. So there's big competition for places in midfield, and that can only be a good thing. Yeah,
and there's also competition for centre back as well. May Ishida was suspended Tuesday.
Yes,
Jack Stevens stepped up, was good. You know, he was composed, and he hadn't been in the team for a while. Yoshida had displaced him.
Yeah. Well, again, competition back there. I'd like to give a bit of praise for Bedenek. I think he's been very brave. Yeah. He came into a real crunch situation. You know, he's very young lad, really. 22, isn't he?
21, 22,
21, 22. You know, I think he's shown a lot of maturity, and he's done all right. He may not be the finished article, but he's certainly got guts.
Yeah, he's been faultless for me since he's come into the side.
Yeah.
Obviously, Manchester City, they are champions, but would you say this is the best Premier League winning side ever?
Without a doubt. Their football's been superb. I'm amazed that Liverpool beat them in the European Cup. Who knows? It's a double-edged sword, isn't it? Liverpool winning the European Cup gets us 10 million. Is that right? So, I don't know. But, yeah, some of City's football's been outstanding. They are a joy to watch, but I hope they're not a joy to watch on Sunday. Their movement, right from the back, from the goalkeeper to the fullbacks to the centre half, they have so much confidence in moving that ball around the back four. You know, on Sunday, it's about stopping them coming forward when they get over our halfway line, and that's the important thing.
It is.
Be focused, be switched on,
and probably for the first time in, let's say, 8 months, we're actually perhaps looking forward to a game at St Mary's this season.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to 5 o'clock actually, but I just feel like the whole season, Saints are like the naughty schoolboy that didn't really work all year, but really revised like hell for their exams and passed the exam by 1 mark. You know, that's how I see Saints right now, but they've got it together, and that's important.
Yeah, absolutely. And we had siege mentality for the last 2 games, Everton and Swansea. And, you know, credit to the fans that's travelled up to Everton. Swansea's Virgin Media putting on subsidised tickets, £10, and also the coach travel as well, subsidised as well. But as we said at the top of the show, I am absolutely relieved, exhausted from this season.
Yeah, I've had enough. I really have had enough. It's been hard to talk to everybody when in my heart I probably thought we are facing relegation without a shadow of a doubt, and try and keep everybody positive on here. And it's so difficult after the Newcastle and the West Ham performances and Tottenham at Christmas. It's just been really hard, but they're our team, and it's a marriage. It's for better or worse, isn't it? It's always going to be like that. So
through sickness and through health,
through the bad times, through the good times. We'll soon be back in Europe.
Yeah.
Probably red funnel, but you never know.
Well, one thing we asked questions for you guys at home as well, to send us a few questions in, and actually there were multiple people that asked the same question, various people, and the big question is, Nick's already reported it on the story the other day. Mark Hughes has opened contractual talks with Southampton Football Club. Do you think, or should he be our manager next season?
My feeling is yes. I think the players like him. I think they've got away with things. A bit like Stoke are saying about certain players. And it is like a school. It is like, if people can get away with things, that in your own workplace. If people can get away with being lazy, they'll get away with being lazy.
Yeah.
I think Mark Hughes has installed a sense of discipline, a sense of belief, and a sense of confidence. Yeah. How can you not give him the job right now? Yes, I know what happened at Stoke, but then if I look at Stoke, I think when Pulis had them, they played no football whatsoever. They just lumped the ball forward. They were the most ugly team in the world. Mark Hughes at least got them playing football. And most of his other jobs, he's done a reasonable job.
Yeah, his history and his
QPR wouldn't say that.
No, not at all. I think I'm sure he got Fulham into Europa League spaces, or even top half in the Prem. And history suggests he's a top half manager. He's got 3 successive seasons at Stoke City.
I think, Freddie, it's a bit like horses for courses, and I do think Mark Hughes suits Saints. He knows the culture of the club. He knows where we can go. But this whole season has been a massive wake up for the hierarchy of the club. They need to realise that they can't keep selling their assets and not replace them with similar.
This was the year that it finally caught up with us.
Oh, it's massively caught up with us, Freddie. We've got out of jail. We talk about great escapes at Crystal Palace that time when we played Wimbledon and took 15,000 supporters. Yeah, that was an amazing escape. But I think this is the biggest escape of the lot, because if Bournemouth put that ball in the net in the last seconds, I don't think what's happened in the last few days happens. And I think we would have faced the worst. So it's that close.
Yeah.
It's that close. And we're still not safe.
I think also you have to give big credit to Alex McCarthy. He was the difference in the last 10 games or so, or even since he came back into the side over December. He was the difference between 1 point, no points, and 3 points. So since we've really been in the muck.
Alex McCarthy's done fantastically well, and I think good credit to, we mentioned Højbjerg.
Yeah,
Højbjerg's got, for a young lad, he's got a lot of fight. People talk about the great escapes before with Dodd, Benali, Letiz, and I think Højbjerg's shown that kind of fight, that sort of passion for the shirt. He might not be the best player in the world, but that sort of fight transpires itself to the fans. Yeah. Fans can see something.
I think he's also more mature than his years. He's very composed in his match interviews. He says it straight down the line. Yeah. He's not afraid to mince his words, and I think that's what warms to fans as well. That Mark Hughes is straight down the line, says it how it is, and he's saying what we're all thinking.
Yep, I think so, and I think as well. Clearly, Dusan Tadic started playing again.
Yeah.
No, he has. The guy's a class act when he plays, and he can transform games for us. He can provide the bullets. Usually, he has scored a couple, but generally he can provide the bullets.
Well, there is another question as well sent in from Mike. I think you know Mike from Fan Cams.
Yeah.
He said, "Who do you think will leave in the summer, and should Mr. Gow rid the club of Ralph and Les?" For me, I think there's got to be some sort of restructure over the summer because, as we say, this is the year that our Southampton way, our structure has really caught up with us. We've crumbled.
Yeah, we have crumbled. I wonder about Les Reed if he's not, because of the failure of the people that he's brought in. I think it's very difficult to see a future for him. Who knows what's going on in the structure of the club, because we don't know anything. I think the one thing that Southampton Football Club should do is communicate with the supporters.
Yeah.
And that's not about having a panel of chosen fans. That's about going to a public meeting like we always used to and actually communicating. Why do they think they're so above themselves that they can't have even a debate with Radio Solent, as every other club in the region do? Why don't the club talk like that? It's only one night. It's just one night where they actually talk like a debate.
Yeah.
Where they have a debate with the fans. Pompey do it. Bournemouth do it. Eastleigh do it even.
More or less every club
So
in the country does it.
Why can't we do it? What is so great about Saints that they can't do it? I think that is something that needs to change. I still believe we need to have some sort of concrete plan going forward in terms of where do we want to be in three years' time? Where do we want to be in 5 years' time?
Because we were the blueprint, we were the model. We're the model football club, how to run a business, how to produce these excellent players and then sell them on for a profit. But it's finally, it's wound up the fans so much beyond belief. And when it started going wrong this season, Les Reed was the first person that people pointed the finger at.
Yeah, I felt sorry for the personal abuse that he's got on the internet. I think that's a bit unnecessary because he's done what he sees fit to be the best, and many times in his career at Saints he's done okay, but certainly some of the players that he's brought in have been sadly lacking.
Yeah, one in particular, a certain Argentine, Guido Carrillo,
well,
only played a handful of games.
Yeah.
Do you think Les Reed has kept a receipt for this guy?
Who knows? You feel sorry for him. He was there celebrating the other night.
Yeah.
And he's still part of the picture. And I feel for the guy because there was a lot of expectations on his shoulders. It was a mistake. We always seem to want to buy younger players. What is he 26?
26,
26, yeah. Okay, so that's still relatively young. I think there's a time when you maybe have to change that policy and look for experienced players. Mr. Giroud would have been great. Everyone says to me, you'd have had to pay him $150,000 a week. Well, we might well be in a cup final now. We might well be even in Europa.
Yeah.
Who knows? It's that close in the Premiership. There's not much difference between the middle of the table and the bottom.
Yeah, I mean, it was very tight up until March time.
I just use that as an example. There are many experienced strikers that we could get. There are many experienced centre-halves that we could get right across Europe, right across the world. That's the sort of work that you're hoping that the likes of Les Reed and Mr. Kruger are putting in, or somebody at the club is putting in.
Yeah.
Because that's certainly where we benefited before.
There's also a comment that's come from Chris Hughes from the Saints Marching website. He said there was reason to believe on Tuesday that Jordan Ayew might be a decent pickup for next season, but he's not 100% convinced. Perhaps he's a replacement for Gabbiadini or Carrillo if they leave in the summer. Would you take Jordan Ayew? Very young, talented forward.
Yeah.
Can play all across the line. Perhaps fits the mould.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know, Freddie. I mean, and going back to the previous question about who should go, I've seen some comments about players on the internet, and I think it's a bit unfair, to be honest. People say, get rid of Long. Shane Long has given us absolutely everything. Whenever he's played, you cannot fault his effort. No, he hasn't provided goals, but he is a guy that if you put better players around him, you will get a lot more from him.
Absolutely. He'll run his socks off every single time. You know what to expect from Shane Long. He won't score his goals, but he exploits the channels, runs at the defenders, gives absolutely everything, and you can't fault that.
No, you cannot fault that. And again, people saying about Tadic, well, Tadic's been that one player in the crunch games when we really need. The Bournemouth game was so important, and he came up with the goods. He has to do it on a more regular basis. But put better players around him, put players that he can link up with, and you will see that.
Yeah, and hopefully Mark Hughes can get the best out of him next season. Let's see he stays on. Well, actually, one bonus thing, now that we've got quick time, Southampton have just released the shortlist for goal of the season.
Oh, have they?
So the shortlist is Yoshida v Stoke, so that was an overhead kick away at the Brit.
Okay.
Buffal versus West Brom, that was goal of the month.
Yeah.
We took around half the team. Stephen Davis v Everton, good strike on the edge of the box on a half volley, I think it was. Mario Lemina versus West Brom in the league game.
Oh, yeah, that was good.
Rocket in the top corner. Dusan Tadic against Bournemouth a couple of weeks ago. I imagine that is his first one. Second one, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They're both excellent goals. And Gabbiadini versus Swansea.
How can Gabbiadini's be goal of the season?
I think it just
ugliest goal of the season.
Just the worst.
But the most important goal of the season.
Emotional goal of the season.
The most emotional. Yeah, it has to be Buffal.
Yeah.
Not everyone's favourite, I know, but that was exceptional. And an individual effort. Incredible goal.
Okay, so final thoughts then, Clive. It's been a long old season.
It's been a long old season. My final thoughts right now, and it's not final thoughts because it's not over. It's all about Sunday, and we need that intensity on Sunday, the intensity that the fans had at Swansea. Those 2,000, was it, that went up there? Absolutely brilliant. Still, some people weren't singing. I do find it strange why you would travel all the way to Swansea and don't sing. But that's the modern day fan for you, unfortunately. The vast majority did, and they were fantastic. But when that game comes along on Sunday, raise the roof. Raise the roof, because we need it. The players need it. The players need to... They need that feeling of something's actually been achieved here. I don't care if we're fourth from bottom. We look back at all these bad refereeing decisions. It's probably cost us 8 points, maybe. But I think about the positive side of things, and maybe the little bit of luck we got at Burnley when their player ran into the referee. It's his problem that he ran into the ref. I don't know what Dyche was moaning about, but that point could be so crucial. Yeah, that point. And like you said, Freddie, and I think at the end of that interview, and you said it the other night, we live to fight another day.
Well, it's been a pleasure as always, Clive. It's been
the Saints.
Yeah, absolutely, 100% long and exhausting season. So when the
sirens are going off,
taxi. So when the dust settles, we'll also get to our end of season review. We won't do our end of season player reviews because we'll be here all day, and I don't think we've got enough energy to do our player reviews this season. So make sure you go ahead and leave your clips. Send us your clips on our usual means, social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Send us your messages, your comments, your thoughts of the season. We'll rendezvous back here in the Five Rivers pub in a week or so's time. So big thanks for them for also hosting us tonight. And don't forget to leave your thoughts, your comments on the season as a whole, and of course Manchester City, the champions, coming to St Mary's on Sunday afternoon.